Yo, 2009 Jeep Patriot. This person has some leaky struts that are blown out really bad, and the bellows boots are all messed up on them. So I got some quick struts, ready struts. They're strut assemblies, whatever you want to call them. I found these on Rock Auto. They were dirt cheap, so I got all four because they all look pretty bad. She's got a loose link pin on the front too, so I'm going to replace the link pins. A lot of times you want to do that anyways, just because you have problems with them when you're doing the front struts, and you're always going to need an alignment afterwards. A lot of times these aftermarket struts, the coil springs are like cargo coils or something, so the ride height is wrong. A lot of times we're a lot higher, but I got all four, so they should match, I hope. We'll see how this goes. I guess I'll start with the rear struts first. I gotta take this thing out. There's a full-size spare tire that's probably kind of gonna be in my way, so I'm just gonna take all of this off. Get this thing out of here. I have a module of some kind that's in my way on the passenger side. There's 10 millimeters on here. Looks like there's 3 of those. I'm just doing that so I can kind of get it out of my way. There's 2 15 millimeter nuts on this strut tower. I'm going to try to loosen them up with a wrench. Then I'm going to get in here with a ratcheting wrench. Ooh, that'll make my life a little... Here I go wrecking stuff again. Hey, don't do that. I'll make it look normal somehow. Yeah. Whoops. One down, one to go. As you can see by them little crush marks, they were nice enough to put locking nuts on here so you can't just loosen them up and take them out by hand. I'm just going to do the same to the other side. I got this thing up in the air. I'm going to get all the tires off next. These are all 19 millimeters. I have an 18 millimeter bolt and nut on this strut. I won't be able to pull this down far enough to get this top out. So I gotta unbolt this lower control arm. I have a sway bar link right here. And the sway bar link is actually connected to the frame and the lower control arm on the other side. So if I take this bolt out right here and try to swing this down, the other control arm on the other side is gonna force it up. So I just kind of want it to flop around a little more, so I'm going to take out both bolts on both sides. Okay, I have both of these steering knuckle bolts out on both sides, so it should be quite easy to just pull this down. And get this strut out of here. Both of these struts have the same part number. You just got to make sure that this point on the hat is facing outward. I suppose I'll put the little factory rubber booty thing on here too. Probably doesn't matter too much. And yeah, I'm lazy, so I left the sticker on it. Get my nuts off. So I'm just going to line this strut up. Before I put this bushing back in, I'm going to do the other side and just start it like that. As you can probably see, this passenger side strut, it's been leaking a little. It's got some oil all over it. Been running down for I don't know how long. Now I can go ahead and just put the lower control arms back on. I have an alignment punch here just to kind of help it along. Now technically, before I tighten this bolt down, this bushing's supposed to be loaded. I'm going to load this suspension. I'm just going to jack it up as high as it'll go. Then I need to tighten this bolt to 70 foot-pounds. Same with the shock bolt, 70 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to put the other side back together. I'm using a torque stick for this. They were nice enough to give me regular nuts for these so I can just screw them down by hand. Isn't that special? And since I broke this nice big hole in the panel, I might as well use it, right? Maybe that's what it's there for. These are supposed to get torqued to 35 foot-pounds. Now I get to deal with my little minor mishap. Little brake cleaner on a rag. Nothing a little Gorilla Tape can't fix. Just like new. I would torque these down to 6 foot-pounds if you ever care about such a thing. There, do the same to the other side. What's that nut for? I don't know. Here, I'll put it right where it was. I was nice enough to air up her spare. Anytime I do, I always fill it to max pressure on the tires. So these are 44 pounds. That way if it sits in here for 10 years, it might not be flat when they go to use it. Make sure none of this is going to rattle. This is wrong. There it is, like no one would ever know. Time to do the front struts. As you can see, this strut's been leaking for the last 7-8 years of the 11 years it's been alive. The bellows boot is gone. Both sides look like that. Bumpers are torn and ripped apart. The sway bar link on the passenger side. I can push up on it. This ball right here is loose. So that's rattling going over bumps. It's not a safety issue, but it's annoying. I gotta take this top one off anyways, so I might as well replace them both. I suppose the first thing I'm gonna do is try to get this link pin off of here. These can be a lot of fun. I got a vice grip I made. I took a vice grip and ground it down for this. That way I can get behind here, try to vice grip that down. And, well, it looks like it's been lubricated enough. I'm just going to run it in and out. Hopefully I can get this thing out. One down. This bottom one, a lot of times you can just bust them off. But this one's pretty tough. It's pretty tough stuff. Clamp this one down too. It's gonna hit the threads on the back side of this with a little deep creep. Get some penetrant on there. Try to get this off with a box and a wrench. Try to work these threads a little bit. A lot of times when you try to force these off just in one shot, the nut will lock up onto the threads. And then this ball on this side will just sit and spin and you'll have all kinds of problems. I'm just gonna work it off. Sometimes you can cut them too if you got a grinder. Finally, what a pain. Normally I'd want to take this nut off and loosen it up. It's super rusty though. I don't know if I should. There's supposed to be a cotter pin in here, and it's rusted so bad. The thing is just, it's kind of gone. I mean, wow. That looks like the cotter pin. And there's this keeper here that's supposed to be a solid piece of steel, and it's just kind of, it's nothing. It's just rusted to nothing. So, yeah. And the reason why you want to loosen up this nut is to push the shaft in, because when you take these two bolts off, this knuckle's gonna fall back, and I don't want the axle shaft to get separated. I'm gonna leave this on here though, because it looks like total trouble. So I'm just gonna try to get this to not fall back so much that it's gonna pull the shaft out, and if it does, I'm gonna have to deal with it, I guess. I have a 13mm on this hanger. I'm gonna take this 13mm off as well. I just want to do this to make sure I don't pull on this wire. This is a 21mm. Oh, nice. Try the other way. Yeah, there's splines in it. I wonder why. This one didn't feel like it was splined. And it is. I don't want this rotor to fall back this way, so I guess I'm gonna just try to bungee cord it or something to try to keep it together. Bungee cord here and a bungee cord there. Now I can just push in on the strut, and well, I guess that's where it's gonna be. Now under the hood, next to the fuse box on the driver's side, I got 3 bolts on the tower here. There's a center bolt here too. You don't ever want to touch that. These are 15mm. I'm going to use a swivel socket on this one because it'll be easy for me. I'm going to take this one off first because it's kind of goofy. Save the easiest one for last. When I take this last bolt out, I want to hold on to the strut because it's going to fall right out. There is a right and a left side, so you just got to make sure that this bracket is on the side it's supposed to be on. I got 3 new nuts, so I'm going to put it up in here and reverse procedure. These tower nuts get tightened to 35 foot-pounds. Try to straighten this out a little bit. Stick an alignment pin in there to line that one up. Now I want to tighten these nuts up to 81 foot-pounds, and I want as much negative camber on this as possible. So if I push the strut in, wow, this thing doesn't even move. That's pretty tight. Usually you push the front of the strut in and it'll give you negative camber. It'll push this rotor so it's pointing out towards the bottom, and the most negative camber is the best. But this thing doesn't move at all, so it's pretty stationary on this car. I'll just do my 81 foot-pounds and put these back on. As a guess, I'd say these get tightened to about 16 foot-pounds. Take my bungee cords off. Apparently the right and the left are the same on these link pins. They were nice enough to put 14mm hexes on the back of these for me. These get torqued to 41 foot-pounds, so the good book says. And that's it. Just do the same to the other side. I put the tires on, torqued the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds, put it on the ground, and I rolled it forward and backwards just to get the suspension to settle so I could measure it, and it looks pretty good. It's about a ½ an inch taller, and it looks pretty level all the way around. So these seem to be pretty good struts. I'm going to call this a job. Okay, bye.